I'm a local loan officer in West Palm Beach, Florida. I've been in the mortgage industry for the last 8 years. I've worked in the industry throughout the country. I've closed over 1,000 loans during my career, so I've seen it all. I'm on a mission to make mortgages both entertaining and educational. Welcome to Lending with Leah. This is the podcast for anyone thinking about potentially owning, in the process of buying, or already owns their own home. My name's Leah Bunning, licensed loan officer, and I will be your host. It's magical.
I love it.
And today I want to introduce our second guest. This is Stephanie Edison, realtor, boss-ass mom,
Yay.
and friend.
Awesome. Hi, everybody.
So, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm excited. It's my first podcast I've ever been on.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You'll like it. It takes a little getting used to because you're talking to people, but there's really not anyone like physically here. But we can pretend. We can pretend there's people there listening. So today, Stephanie and I are going to talk about the importance of having a good and strong lender and realtor relationship. But before we get into that, I want to ask Stephanie some questions so you guys can get to know her a little bit. So Stephanie, my first question for you, if you had to describe what you do as a realtor, and side note, so I know the real technical pronunciation is realtor, but
I thought it was realtor.
It is realtor, but I always want to say realtor. Okay. So
just keep saying whatever makes you happy.
There you go. Okay, so if you had to describe what you do as a realtor to someone who is not in the industry, how would you describe it?
I would describe being a realtor as guiding people through the process of buying and selling a home while helping them take the least amount of Xanax possible to get them through it. No, but actually, I mean, really it's just about helping people live their desired lifestyle through the home of their dreams. So it's not just buying a house or selling a house, it's your lifestyle goals, and I'm helping them achieve that, whether it's they want to be living on a farm somewhere, or they want that downtown lifestyle to be near restaurants and shopping, or they want to live near the beach. So it's really about helping people live the life of their dreams.
I love that.
Yeah. And take less Xanax.
Has anyone ever told you, like, if they...
this week, I literally had a seller that was like, yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
Oh, I mean, I can imagine. So it can be a very stressful process. And kind of speaking on that, since you get the opportunity to work with buyers and sellers versus me on the lending side, I'm usually just limited to buyers. Yeah. Who would you say has more stress, sellers or buyers?
You know, I don't think it's sellers or buyer answer. I think it's more about just personality. I can usually tell when I start working with someone if they're just going to be fucking crazy. And I try to help them the best that I can to stay calm through the process. But I think it's really just a personality thing. If you spend your life stressed out and everything bothers you, then when you're buying a home, it's going to be stressful and every part of it is probably going to bother you.
It makes sense. Yeah. Because I see that too, just with even buyers. Like some buyers are so calm. They're like, yeah, just whatever you say, here you go. I'll turn it in on time. And others, it's like, anytime you ask for something, they're like, oh my God, is my loan going to get denied?
Like 2 weeks later, you're still asking for it.
I actually had one of my buyers, I think it was last week, reached out, and it was like 8:30 at night, I think on a Thursday. And he's like, I'm about to get divorced. I'm so stressed out. Aww. Can you? And I'm like, I promise nothing, like there's nothing urgent or upsetting. Yeah. I'm like, the underwriter just wants to cross their T's and dot their I's. I'm like, I'll let you know if you have something to worry about, but I think you're good. Just deep breath, calm the wife down. Yep. You'll be set.
Absolutely.
So, second question, real estate and work aside, tell me some things about you. What are some of your hobbies, your passions? Like, what makes Stephanie tick?
So I actually, for the last 3 years, my big why is what we call it at Keller Williams. Is your big why? What's your purpose? Mine is selfish, and it's okay. Sometimes it doesn't have to be necessarily. My big why is to, end world hunger. That's a great reason to want to be successful, but it doesn't necessarily have to be something that amazing. You can still do amazing things with money, but that doesn't necessarily have to be your big why. So traveling has been really important to me. It's something I've always wanted to do. Within the last year, I've had a lot of changes in my life with my sister passing away from breast cancer, and our mom has dementia, and she's only 64, and her diagnosis is that maybe she'll have another year left to live. So right now my focus is I really want to be able to provide her one-on-one care, and it's really expensive because she's getting worse, and I just want to be able to give her the absolute best that she can have in the end of her life, because she was such an amazing mom. I mean, she's still a great mom, but yeah.
And I've been fortunate enough to get to meet her and spend a little bit of time with her too.
Yeah.
So,
and she's a great grandma too. My boys, they absolutely love her. And I have 2 boys. They're 3 and 4 years old.
Yeah, they're so cute too.
Yeah, I love being a mom.
Is there potentially a third one on the horizon? Maybe someday?
We do want either 3 or 4. Eric says, it's my husband, if we have a third one and it's a boy, then we're stopping, because he doesn't want to touch with 4 boys. So
nothing like putting the pressure on you with a question.
Like, yes, I've already mapped out exactly how to have sex to equal a girl. So whenever you want those tips, you let me know. I
want to know those tips. I feel like this is something humanity has tried to solve. So if you've solved it, I want to know.
Okay, I got you. That's probably another podcast episode for another time, but we'll talk about it.
I like it. I like it. And share with everyone one amazing experience you've had as a realtor and one horrible one.
I would say an amazing experience I've had as a realtor is retiring my husband from working in retail. We both worked in retail, and it was very soul-sucking. And I actually quit my job while I was pregnant and making $70,000 a year without telling him I was going to do that. So he is very risk averse, and I think men are more naturally, they want to make sure they're providing for the family. So come 2 years later, I quit to go into real estate. I knew that was what I was venturing into and what I was meant to do, because we actually got our real estate license thinking we were going to be on like HGTV flipping houses and stuff like that, like everybody thinks they're going to do. So 2 years later, I was able to let him quit his job, and he came to work with me for a little while, and now he actually runs his own inspection company.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's probably the most amazing thing.
And now you haven't been in real estate for a crazy length of time or anything like that yet either, right?
It's been 5 years that I've been in real estate.
Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but it's been a minute.
For anyone out there who is thinking about or potentially wants to get into the real estate business, what are some tips that you would share with other people who have that interest?
Yeah, so I actually have somebody right now that has reached out to me. They're interested in becoming a real estate agent, and I think finding the right brokerage is super important. At Keller Williams, there's so much training, and it's very community and contribution over competition, which is huge, because a lot of realtors, they want to keep their secrets. They don't want to share whatever's working for them. But honestly, I've learned that I can tell everyone every single thing I'm doing, and 98% of people aren't going to do it anyway because they're lazy. So I just try to help as many people as I can and hope that somebody actually takes the advice. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I would say find a really great supporting brokerage.
I like that. And now I'm going to loop us back. Tell me a horrible experience, because as much as we as humans love the good stuff, we also, for whatever messed up reason, kind of love the bad stuff too.
So For a second, I thought you forgot, and I was like, oh, good, she forgot.
No.
I don't typically focus on the negative. There is a lot of shit that happens as a real estate agent, and you very much have to keep your emotions between the lines, is what we call it. I had a seller a couple years ago who, this was right as the market was starting to go up after COVID. And it was an elderly man. When I met him, he said he was a judge in New York, and he was still doing judge work in New York. And we listed his house for way higher than I realistically thought was possible at that time. And this house was covered like head to toe in wallpaper. Like, I'm talking the ceilings, every wall.
Who puts wallpaper on ceilings?
In every bathroom, every room. It was.
Was there carpet horrific in the bathrooms too?
There wasn't. Thank God. You would have thought. I've seen a lot of carpet in bathrooms. What is that? So, and then also just like pictures on every wall. Same thing, like floor to ceiling, wall to wall, pictures, art, all kinds. So it was like, but the house had a lot of potential. Well, I got him a full price offer, which I was like, holy cow, we got a full price offer, because I marketed the hell out of that property. I did virtual staging, virtual renderings so people could see what it would look like if it was remodeled and not covered in wallpaper. It would be stunning.
Like, it's actually pretty, I promise.
Yes. You got to see past
visually.
It. A lot of people don't have vision. So when I presented the full price offer, he said, we are going to hold off on selling right now. He said, but I'm a man of my word, and I'm going to pay you your commission, because that's what our contract says. And he is a judge, right? So I said, okay. So he's like, you know what? Well, why don't I'll pay you half now, and then we'll relist it in a few months, and then I'll pay you the other half. And I don't relist it, I'll still pay you the other half. And I'm like, okay, fine. I've actually never asked a client, buyer, seller, whatever, to pay me anything if we're canceling a contract. But I'm like, I worked my butt off for this guy. He says he's a man of his word. He wants to pay me. Like, I'm going to let him pay me.
Yeah.
So months later, after he paid me the half, I think he started talking to his son, who lived in New York and had some kind of friendship with a lawyer. And they had that lawyer call me with his son and threaten me to give that money back that he paid me. And I was like, what? Like, what is happening? So I called the seller and I said, I don't understand. Why is your son coming after me? He was like, with this nasty lawyer, super nasty. And you were happy with everything I did. And like,
you
this
were the one who
offered after me. This is your son. Like, what is going on? And he was like, I don't have anything to do with it. It's my wife and my son, and I'm washing my hands of it. So I was like, okay. So I basically told them, they said they were going to report me to the board for collecting funds before we closed. And I said, I will report myself to the board. Like, if you think I did something wrong, I have no problem with that. And I did. And the board never responded, probably because they saw it and was like, what the hell? This is ridiculous. And they went away.
Well, I'm glad they did.
Yeah. So now I really like to focus my business on friends and family of past clients, people that already know, like, and trust me. And I don't work with bitches and assholes. I'm done with that.
Same here.
Yeah.
I have actually, the term I use is fired.
Oh yeah.
Fired a few clients.
Absolutely.
Before.
It feels so good when you do the first one. You're like, you feel liberated.
Yeah. Someone told me, mortgage loan officer coach, great coach. And the advice he said, or the advice thing he told us, was that the day you realize you don't have to do business with everyone is a great day. And
absolutely.
And it was, because I'm sure you were probably similar. When I first got my start as a loan officer, it was like, I'm going to do everything for anyone at all. And don't get me wrong, I'm still that way. Like, I will help anyone and everyone, but
people who appreciate it.
And even like, it can be a frustrating process.
Yeah.
I don't care if someone's frustrated, if they're upset, but what I don't tolerate is disrespect and rudeness. And that's definitely where I draw the line.
Absolutely.
I had one, this lady, I mean, she didn't even fill out an application. So it was just an initial conversation, kind of starting back and forth. And we had our initial talk. It went well. And then I followed up with her a couple of days later. And she didn't answer, so I sent her a text. And then I just got this, I mean, one right after the other, like, you're a terrible person and this and that. And I mean, mean words. And I was like, I said, excuse me. I said, I'm not going to allow you to speak to me this way. And I think, at this point, we need to discontinue this relationship. If you would like another loan officer, I'd be happy to give you recommendations.
And then block.
Yeah, and then block.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's some people out there that are just a little.
That's all right. There's another lender and another realtor out there for them. It's not us.
Exactly. And I think that is a great, it's just a great thing to know.
Yeah.
And it makes your life easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a seller once who was unethical and wanted to lie about things that were wrong with the property that we were selling. So much that he was out of state, and I referred a AC company to go and look at this AC because we were under contract and the buyers had done an inspection and the inspector said that the AC needed to be replaced. So he hired this company that I referred him to, which was actually a friend's company. And I trusted her and her husband. They had done other things for me on my house and other clients' houses. And at that time, my husband was working with me as a real estate agent, not an inspector like he is now. And he went there when the AC guy went to service the AC and see if there was really an issue and did it really need to be replaced. So the AC guy called my client after he looked at it and told him it doesn't need to be replaced. Like, it's 13 years old, it's not functioning properly, whatever. And then the seller didn't know that Eric was there representing me at the time. So he called me back and was like, oh, the guy said everything is fine with the AC unit. And I'm like, no, they didn't. Like, Eric was there. And of course he freaked out and was like, well, I didn't give Eric authorization to be at the property because he got caught in a lie. So he was pissed off.
Yeah.
And he refused to pay the AC company. It was like $180 for going out to the property. And my friend and vendor partner, that was the AC company, said, Stephanie, this is your client. He was so nasty to them. So nasty. When they called to collect payment. And she said, I normally wouldn't do this for this amount, $180. She said, but I'm gonna, if it's fine with you, I'm gonna put a lien on the property. I said, absolutely. Like, do it. Like, you run your business the way you run your business. I run mine. Do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And then within a couple of weeks, I ended up firing him as a client anyway, because And I had done so much for him. I helped him remodel that property from him being out of state, like designed everything, worked my butt off. And I was just like, you know what? No, like, go find somebody else. Yeah. So I blocked his number. And he called and left me a message, and I didn't even know that, like, if someone leaves you a voicemail, it goes to, like, this blocked folder.
Oh,
so
it's like
2 months later, 2 months later, I'm like, oh my God, I have this voicemail from him. And it was like a minute and a half long, him going off about how he's calling, like, Better Business Bureau, because he went to go close and there was a lien on the property because he didn't pay the AC company.
This is what happens when you don't pay your bills.
I'm like, that's right.
I see the same thing on the lending side. It's pretty easy to tell when someone had a life circumstance or really something come up where they couldn't make payments on time versus someone who just feels like they don't have to pay their bills.
So entitled. Yeah. And I was like, well, you must have figured it out because that was 2 months ago. I'm just now getting this voicemail. So I guess you never reported me.
I never knew there was like a blocked like subspace folder on your phone. I might have to go back.
I will show you my favorite things. I clear it out often.
I'm definitely going to have to go check on that.
Yep.
And this is definitely one of the reasons why you need a great lender-agent relationship.
Yes, to get through all this craziness.
To get through all of this craziness. And we're going to pull back and segue into that piece of today's show for you guys and really just honing in on why it is so important to have that good relationship. And in this part, Stephanie, I'm going to ask Stephanie some questions, but then I'm going to answer too.
Cool.
And we'll get a little bit of perspective from the real estate side and from the lending side.
I love it.
So question 1, as a realtor, can you explain the importance of the lender-realtor relationship from your point of view?
Absolutely. So the importance of a realtor and the lender having a close working relationship is, I mean, like you and I, we're literally tied together through the whole transaction. You, me, and my transaction coordinator. And I mean, even when I have people come to me that maybe they already had a pre-approval from somewhere before they came to me, I always recommend that they do a second one with you to see if they can get a better rate. Or sometimes they're loyal to someone else, which is fine. But I have so many deals that even when they're not using you, you still help me through it because problems come up and so many lenders don't know what they're doing. And I mean, God, I feel like I've been harassing you nonstop the last month because I'm like, are lenders like realtors? Are there like 5 million of them now? Because they just don't know what they're doing. And
well,
it's killing me.
I have a theory on that. And I think it's because the market is, there's a lot less business right now because rates are high.
Yeah.
And people are getting desperate. And so I think because of that desperation, you have a lot of loan officers that aren't doing a thorough job. They just want the business so badly that they're just saying yes. And they're not realizing that there's power in a no.
Yeah.
Too.
Absolutely. So what do you think the most important thing is about it?
So from the lending perspective, one of the things I love about having a good lender-agent relationship is getting to hear your guys' perspective, because you're the soldier, like with your boots on the ground, like you're actually your armor. Yeah, armor right now.
My weapons.
What would your weapon of choice be?
It's probably like an automatic rifle or something. It's gonna be hardcore.
I was gonna say a nunchuck, like.
It's serious. What's that thing that like just blows flames?
Oh,
the flamethrower. I don't know.
Flamethrower.
It's something intense. Yeah.
But so you guys are out there like boots on the ground, and you get the first perspective to what's going on in the market as it shifts. And that is so important and vital to me in how I communicate with clients, the best way to structure deals. You know, are we doing an interest rate buy down, or is it better to just, you know, buy a permanent fixed rate instead of a temporary, you know, all these things. Like I really rely on you guys.
And vice versa. I mean, I come to you and you help me problem solve and come up with so many scenarios. And even a deal that I was doing where I was representing the seller, you know, the lender said that they had to turn down, they had to do a denial on the buyer and we were going to cancel the deal. And I'm like, what? And like, because of my experience with you, I'm like, I know there's other options and things that we can do to try to work this out. And unfortunately that deal didn't work out because that lender was just so terrible. But yeah, it's important. We work together really well and definitely find a lot of solutions to problems because they come up.
They come up, and there's plenty of times I need your guys' help with a solution. And 2 heads it's better than one. So if a deal is having trouble or issues, being able to trust that I can come to you and we can just brainstorm together is huge, because I've had deals before where the realtor doesn't know anything. Like I had one where we had a low appraisal, and so we tried a rebuttal and this and that, and the realtor was so scared to call the listing agent and negotiate. And so they were like asking me how to do that. I'm like,
that's why when you ask me what's the most, I'm like, get a good broker. Join somewhere they're going to give you a lot of training and support. Clearly, wherever they were, they did not have that.
No, none at all. Okay, next question. The market is shifting rapidly. I think we all know that. how does having a good lender relationship help you navigate the market?
Oh my gosh, so much. So, I mean, you've really helped me. I have clients that were looking 6 months ago and they couldn't compete with the 30 other offers that they were getting because they weren't in a place to put down more cash, more money, do approval waivers and all that craziness. So right now, what you've helped me do is take those buyers that now they actually have a chance at getting their offer accepted and show them what a 2-1 buy down looks like and how we can negotiate a credit from the sellers and actually get them the monthly payment that they need and show them how it makes more sense to not waste money on rent and to invest into a home.
And I think one of the things that's important, just specifically in regards to the market shifting, is, let's face it, as interest rates go up, people's buying power goes down. And so I have to put so much reliance on you guys too to find a home for someone. And that may mean they have to give up some of their wants in a home because they don't qualify for it as much, simply because the higher rates, less buying power. And that's just the reality of it. And like, one of the reasons I love working with you is because when I come to you and I'm like, this is it. This is what we got to work with. And this is the pre-approval amount. And this, like, I never, ever, ever hear from you, ooh, well, there's nothing. Like, there's nothing I can do. Like, even when it seems a little out there, you're still like, okay, like, let me take it. Let me see what I can do. It might be tough. But that aside from, I have some other agents and I'll send a pre-approval and they're like, ain't nothing we can do there. And I'm like, come on, guys. I'm like, I need your
I mean, at least show the client what their possibilities are and let them decide what do they want to do with their future.
Exactly. And our last question for today's episode: how does the lender-realtor relationship help or hurt a client?
It can hurt a lot. I mean, one of the deals that I was talking about a few minutes ago where it ended up falling apart, it was the lender's fault, honestly. The lender sucked. They didn't help protect the buyer. That buyer is not getting their escrow back. And I mean, it can really hurt. It can make the difference of you not getting the home of your dreams and losing your escrow money.
I was just going to say, like, not only not getting the home, but potentially also losing money too.
And now I'm sure that buyer is probably super pissed with his agent too, because that agent and that lender were like buddy. And that's who he referred him to. So,
well, and I think this specifically is an important thing to share with everyone as well. So when you are going under contract and you're getting a mortgage, there's something called a financing contingency on the purchase contract. Can you give a little insight onto what that is?
So the financing contingency, you're talking about the loan approval period?
Yeah, the loan approval period and how that protects or hurts potentially someone's escrow deposit.
Yeah, so I mean, you've helped me through so many different transactions and helped educate me about different little things on the lending side that I didn't know before we met a few years ago. So really, you have your loan approval period, and it includes the appraisal now. That's something that changed in more recent times. And if you go past that period and you don't have your loan approval letter, then you're forfeiting your escrow if you haven't either gotten a denial from the lender or canceled the contract if you're within the inspection period. I mean, there's different ins and outs, but you have to really know what you're doing. There's a lot of different ways that your client can get screwed if you're not educated.
And I think that's one thing that, like, you and I do a really good job on, is explaining that, making sure people's money is protected, that hey, if there is any uncertainty with the loan potentially going through, we talk about that up front.
Yeah.
And then, we know that date too. So if something does go wrong or something's not doable, we can protect the buyer's interest.
Yeah, it's kind of like our last out after the inspection period. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I love it. I think that, gives people a lot of insight into the lender and realtor relationship, and really just how important it is.
Yeah.
Can really make a difference.
Yeah, it's crucial
in your transaction. And Steph and I are both easily and readily available everywhere. So you can follow me or find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Pocket, everywhere. All the things. Lending with Leah, easy peasy. And Steph, where can everyone find and reach out to you?
Yeah, so I'm mostly on Instagram at Steph Sells WPB, which stands for West Palm Beach. And you can find me on Facebook as well, but I would say Instagram mostly.
Perfect.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Nice and easy. And as always, you guys too, if anyone ever has a specific scenario that you want to talk to me personally about, find me on my social media, reach out, and we can always have a private conversation one-on-one too.
Well, thanks for having me, Leah. I appreciate it. This was fun.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I can't wait to do it again.
Oh, we will definitely be doing this again because real estate is like a never-ending thing, and there's so much to talk about.
So many stories.
All right, everyone, have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in for episode 5, and we will see you guys in a couple weeks.